Hey everyone, Eric here from the EVH Gear TV network, and obviously here a specialty presentation for Walking Dead. We're talking about season 9 of The Walking Dead. We're two episodes into the season, and I think it's fantastic. Now, I'm not one of those fanboys that are going to give every single episode a 10 out of 10 or a 10 plus. I've even commented on that in some various Facebook groups of Walking Dead related content recently. I mean, honestly, how can you give every episode a 10 plus? It's almost like comparing your ex with a 10 plus. When you meet a new partner in your life, you don't really leave a lot of room for, you don't leave any room, period. So please, if you can do one thing, please don't rate every single episode as a 10 plus. You serve yourself no justice by doing that. But anyways, episode 1 was great, but now I'm really enjoying episode 2. It was called The Bridge, and I posted this on Facebook on the Walking Dead Facebook page, and I shared it on my personal pages as well too. And I'll kind of read verbatim what I posted, but I'm just going to give you some thoughts right now. I mean, Angela Kang as a new showrunner, absolutely 100% in the driver's seat and the best driver to get you to where we need to go as Walking Dead fans. Now, I'm good friends with Glenn Mazzara, who was an executive showrunner during seasons, the end of, I believe, end of season 2 through season 3 with the prison, with the governor and things like that. And I'm not sure how far he went after that, but there was a parting of ways. And I'm very partial to Glenn with his writing, direction, and things like that as well too. I mean, Scott Gimple was his understudy for the longest time, and now Scott became the showrunner and now is kind of the overseer of the entire universe, whereas now Angela Kang has picked up the reins as showrunner, and I think she's doing great. I miss Glenn tremendously. He was great. Some of the best writing, I think, of all times on that show, but people change directions, like I'm a rock musician, and as we know in bands, you might think your favorite singer is the person who is the singer, and then they leave and you can never replace that singer, and all of a sudden the next person does a good job too. So I'll always be loyal to Glenn Mazzara. But here we are, we're season 9, a lot of directions are changing, and I'm going to read you a little bit of what I said in my very, it's not really necessarily a short kind of post on Facebook, but this will give you the kind of where I'm going with that. So I greatly enjoyed episode 2 this evening, called The Bridge. With no spoilers whatsoever, the trust many of us have in new showrunner Angela Kang is paying off. Angela and her trusted team are nailing the season with only 2 episodes under their belt. Just with the musical scoring alone, it feels like the very first few seasons. Many emotions contained throughout. Happiness, fear, anticipation for what's to come, and talk about teamwork for all characters involved. Everyone now has a responsibility, and big ones at that. Everyone is a leader in their own way, which is, of course, foreshadowing for what is yet to come. And did anyone else notice the blinking light in the sky? I mean, come on. That source, and I'm trying to use, because you can't see me right now, I'm using my Austin Powers or Dr. Evil fictitious quotes in the air quotes. That source is getting ever so strong over many episodes since season 1, and I think it will come to the forefront very soon. Obviously, I'm trying to underplay this because I do feel I know where it's going with that, but I don't want to allude to too much. The entire A New Beginning theme is wonderful. It was once about surviving, and now it's about rebuilding. Not to go back to the Ice Age in comparison, but life started over then, and that's what they're doing now in the show. Primitive, old school, horse and buggy, tow behind plows, rainwater collecting. By the way, my dad used to do that, and it was fantastic for vegetation. Rainwater is so much better than real water. Old school, but it's how our forefathers survived a good life, and it's working here. Also key is rebuilding a sense of law, that once the apocalypse hit, all went to hell in a handbasket. Law is bigger than one person. Another common thread. That's what you think about, like we all have to pay our bills. We all have to follow the law. We can't speed. We can't run a red light. we don't think about those things. You don't kill somebody, there's all these different things that are laws. And, we always think about these things, what, if we didn't have laws, we could drive as fast as we want, we can do this, we can do that. And it would be such a great life. But be careful what you wish for, right? The old cliche, be careful what you wish for, because those days, in the case like here we are right now with the apocalypse, there's no laws. It's basically anarchy. And is it all we wished for? Now we have to fear about, someone can kill you for looking the wrong way, or, walking across your field that is potentially the new property that you've claimed, and they could kill you and there's no repercussions from it. So I think the law is bigger than one person, like I mentioned a second ago, is a very, very important thing. And I think we're going to find out more where that's going in the very near future. I feel we're seeing certain characters from the TV world assume the roles of characters from the graphic novels, and that's very cool and evident of what is to come with certain key cast. And I won't share any, I won't go any further than that in this example, but I'm sure some of you that read the graphic novels would kind of know where I'm going, and especially with certain people leaving the show, and we'll leave it at that. My last important mention from tonight's episode is redemption. As pointed out, some people are worthy of redemption. Honest slips and mistakes. Hey, we're all guilty of making honest mistakes, and as it was said in the show, no one is right all the time. As much as we might all think we're right all the time, and husbands and wives will have this conversation a lot, it's generally the wives who are right 99.9999% of the time, and the husbands, the guys, are the ones that are wrong almost all the time. But you know what? Not everyone is right all the time, and that was pointed out in the show. Sadly, some people, given the chance after chance, are less worthy of redemption, and I think that was a very, very cool undertone in tonight's show. Angela Kang and her crew deserve the highest of props. She jumped into the season with a full plate, and although she has at least 25, I think 27, 28, 29 episodes that she's been involved in as a writer, so this is certainly not her first Walker rodeo. She's been there all through the beginning. In closing props, I just want to say kudos and respect to the director of the episode, The Bridge, Daisy Meyer, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, and writer David Leslie Johnson McGoldrick. And I hope I'm pronouncing that right, because I am the worst person for pronouncing names, but at least if you can hear what I'm saying, you can probably research that and find out who they are. So I've got some photos. Obviously, the photos that you're watching throughout the screen here as well, too, are provided courtesy AMC. And I just want to copyright Jackson Lee Davis through AMC. And please be sure to subscribe here on the channel if you're new. I promise I will work very, very hard to keep you as a subscriber as I was to get you. There's lots of things here on the channel. I have basically 4 specialty programs to kind of entertain people of all natures. I have a lot of music stuff, but Walking Dead, which became Rocking Dead for me, is very, very close to my heart. I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I'm not a fanboy. There's characters I love, and there's characters I wish any harm on the character, but there's certain characters that I would not lose any sleep if we lose them. But I'll share with you this. I am a Rick Grimes fan through and through. He's my number one character. There's a lot of other characters I like. Daryl Dixon, I like him very much as well too. Enjoyed the PlayStation 3 game featuring him. But I really think, and I'll say this right now, I was a huge skeptic a while back when there's some mentions on the internet about certain characters making an exit. And that's all I'm going to say. And I was one of the many, many people that said, you know what? Show's done. It's all done. It won't make it past season 9, blah, blah, blah. And then I started, looking outside in, and you know what? Sometimes, like, a hockey team, let's take a hockey team, and they get rid of the entire starting line, and they're gone. They shake up that team. Next thing you know, you got these young kids coming in with gusto and blah, 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 and all of a sudden that team is now a powerhouse. There's certain people exiting the show that are doing it for the show, doing it for their own, reasons of great importance, family and things like that. but I think it will see the rejuvenation of the show. We're already seeing the new intro credits of The Walking Dead, and I think that alone is awesome. And there's a lot of little teasers in there. If you freeze frame, frame by frame, and watch those things, you're going to see some really, really cool things in there. But we now have Angela Kang at the reins of The Walking Dead as we know it. And here's what I'm going to say right now. I started watching back the first few seasons, getting ready for season 9, and especially season 1. And the whole thing with Rick meeting Morgan and the emotional soundtrack. Listen for those cues, those audio cues. I'm a musician, so I listen for audio cues. When you're a performing musician, it's always listening for an audio cue. Listen for those things in the background, and there could not be, you could honestly have an episode where there's zero dialogue, and the audio cues that what's what I'm looking for, the people who are in control of everything audio in the audio department of The Walking Dead, they lead you from scene to scene, and that soundtrack is as important to you as what comes out of Rick Grimes' mouth or Morgan or Daryl Dixon or any of the Maggie or Jesus or anybody. Don't forget about the importance of that actor of the soundtrack, and that's very, very important. The soundtrack is critical for The Walking Dead, and I think we're getting back to that. We're reinventing The Walking Dead. It's going back to the first few seasons. Angela said she wanted to do that, and I'm very, very, very looking forward to the opportunity to potentially in the near future, hopefully interviewing Angela here on the channel for Walking Dead and speaking about what she's doing for the show. And she is just as much of a fan, if not more so. As much as we all consider ourselves fans, she is a major fan of the show. Now, when you have a major fan of the show, being in control of the show, that's pretty darn awesome. Myself, let's look into the music world of things. You could be a famous band and you hire some person to design your website and your online persona, that knows nothing about music. Maybe they're an accountant and they have graphic design and marketing skills. You're going to get one result. But if you get someone to design your marketing campaign, your website, your online persona that's a musician, it's certainly going to work. We've got Angela Kang being a competent and professional writer with accolades that we can't even begin to speak of, and she's as much of a fan or more so, and I'm going to go on record as saying more so of a fan than any of us. She's in control of it, and I think we're honestly, if we could have asked for anything to save this show, we've got it. And I cannot say enough about what's about to come. We're going to see some time jumps. We've already seen it, and I think that's pretty cool. And I think time jumps allow us to grieve and deal with things. And it's sometimes hard to deal with. And I think sometimes in the real world, it's too bad we didn't have time jumps, because in the real world, we lose somebody, we've got to physically deal with it. And we don't get time jumps. We don't get the luxury of fast forwarding or going to sleep and put ourselves in a hibernation for 2-3 years. But with The Walking Dead, we've got the luxury of time jumps, and it's going to help us deal with what we're seeing. But I really did enjoy episode 2 of The Bridge. I think it was better than the first one. First one was good, but this was really good. And we're seeing conflict. We're seeing division. And I did really enjoy also, too, this isn't written down, but I did really enjoy King Ezekiel talking about, how important that bridge is, talking about, the bridge is more than just a bridge. It's how the communities come together. We've got water coming from here. We've got grain coming from here. We've got vegetables coming from here. It's more than just a bridge. It's not just getting across a water pathway. It's absolutely amazing. And I think that's something we can all look into in life as well, too. That what we look at just going down the street is not necessarily going down the street. There's more things that kind of relate to that. An absolutely amazing episode. We've got a lot more to go. We've got 14 more episodes to go. Possibly only a few more left with a certain character, but I think we're in for the best. And really, the closings, there's a closing scene with Negan as well too, and I won't mention what was said, but was very powerful with a small amount of dialogue, and I'm really loving this. Here's one of the things I'll say on a closing note. There's less dialogue in the show, and more emotion that comes from great writing, comes from the great soundtrack beneath it as well too, and great relationships. We're seeing some things like that as well too, and that also prevents, or I shouldn't say prevents, it also presents the opportunity or the fear, because we've known over time with The Walking Dead that when relationships start, someone becomes happy for the first time and all of a sudden something's taken away. So I'm also very fearful for that. But for a moment, looking from the outside in at some of these people that have happiness, it's fantastic to see that for a short time and let them enjoy that while they can, because obviously in an apocalypse world, you never know if you're going to have it tomorrow. So very long review. I hope you did enjoy this review, and if you did, please thumbs up. You can leave a comment down below what your thoughts are on the episode, maybe some of the relationships that you saw in the episode, what you think of that, what you think of maybe that little blink in the sky. We obviously, a lot of us know what that is, but this is a brand new section on the channel here, Walking Dead, and I'd love to communicate with you more. Please give me some feedback on how you enjoyed it so far. I plan on having more guests on the show very, very soon. And of course, it's just one part of several content sections I have on the site. But it's The Walking Dead is very, very important to me. And I hope you maybe enjoy some of the content I'm trying to share with you. So join the family, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. And we'll look forward to seeing you very, very soon. I think we're in for a great episode 3 coming up next Sunday. So we'll see you very, very soon. Until next time, cheers.